This is Go-MMT Radio.
Go-MMT Radio. Headset Go.
Powered by Make My Trip, Go Ibibo and Redbus.
Usually what I do every Friday is this Filmy Friday. We talk about a lot of films. But there has been a new chapter in MMT's life, in its progress and in how it believes in being inclusive. And that is mental well-being. There is a new well-being partner, which is one-to-one help. And I today am in conversation with Antara Sen Dave, who's a senior consultant from one-to-one-help.net. Antara, it's so nice to have you on the show. Warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Annie, for having me here. It's a pleasure being here.
One-to-one help, just as the name goes, is a pioneer and also leader in employee assistance program. Now, this is something that you have thought of way ahead of its time in India. I think the world India requires it a lot more today. And you have the reputation for quality and integrity. You are also working with 100 multinational organizations across India. I think you have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, Antara. How have you fared so far?
Yes, Annie, that's right. It is a very much needed service. And you were also right about the fact that it started off well ahead of its time. But yes, the need, the want, the awareness has really grown. So it is a partnership with the client companies, our whole expertise all across the years and the kind of team that we have. And, the tagline is happiness. So, when you are happy waking up to something that is really part of your passion, yes, we manage it and we really thrive on it, in fact, to really bring the best of us each time we come into a space.
Oh, that is commendable. You're, of course, a team of qualified and experienced counseling psychologists who ensure that you do come true to the needs of the employees when they come up with whatever problems that it is they have. I would really like you to also explain how EAP actually works.
So, Annie, what really happens is that we have a tie-up with the company and then the company employees are able to use our platform to access services. And while we talk about mental health, there is a lot around that. It's not just about resolving issues, but it's also about being proactive and preventive in our approach to emotional well-being. So when you do explore our site, you will find there is the core of what we do is our counseling services. And you can, use those as you want. There are different modalities that suit different people. Its access is 24/7. The other aspect is that you can come in and not necessarily move in for counseling, but you could be reading an article, you could be taking an assessment, which throws up something and which you might want to take into a counseling session. So it's preventive as well as responsive in its approach. So it's a very holistic suite of offerings that we have, and people can come in and really dip in to what, brings up something that is meaningful to them. It also helps you prepare for certain life stages. So I'm choosing to get married, I'm excited about it, and yet there is this apprehension, some things that I'd like to discuss. It could be a new role that I'm going to go into. And while everything is very, very, something that is really enticing me and I'm really looking forward to it, there could be some areas that I want to discuss. So all of these are aspects that you can bring into a counseling scenario through our platform.
So Antara, why is well-being so important in today's fast-paced world?
So Annie, well-being is something that possibly earlier sort of based on the environment and the linearity of our lives, the pace that we didn't have, which was not so intensive, was something that came to us pretty easy. You had very segregated hours of work, commute wasn't a challenge. But today, if you see it, there's a lot that is coming to us apart from our workspace and work that we need to be totally productive at. Plus also the personal journey has changed. The cultural context is going through a shift. And so it is very important to make it an intentional choice. And sometimes the humdrum in the scheduled to-do lists and running around, we sort of forget about it till it takes a hit. And like you rightly said, the mental well-being goes along with the physical well-being. So you can address it either ways, but there is a strong connect between our body and mind. So sometimes issues arise in our body, and then you get to the core of it and realize, oh, it's some kind of a stress, a pressure that I've not really addressed in a long time. It doesn't have to be very heavy events in our life that set us off, but it's the daily erosion. So counseling or some kind of a pause mechanism, some kind of a anchorage that you have, which is very intentional in your daily routine, becomes so much more necessary.
Rightly so. What are some of the common misconceptions people have about seeking counseling or therapy? I, for one, I know I keep advising friends or anybody for that matter, even me personally, to keep taking sessions because I do know that it is sort of a healing process. But these misconceptions that people have, we need to break them. So what are some of them that you can throw light upon?
One is that I don't seem to have a problem, so do I need to go for therapy? And like we looked at it, not about always resolving a big crisis. It is about, our thinking, our emotional patterns. We go through life experiences and each of it is changing us every day. So having these connections allows us to really air our thoughts and emotions, even when we may not have a crisis point.
Sure.
So that is one. There is a lot of stigma around reaching out, and some of those barriers come into play. So to realize it is not something you do when something is wrong. It is a very subjective experience. So we have to take a call and, go into it not thinking if it's impacting me, then it's big enough for me. I don't have to compare notes with other people. I have to take a subjective call. And to share that a lot of the youngsters today are very aware. And when they sort of share that, my parents may not understand, but I know, like you're saying that, you also keep telling people around you that please go and have a session. It's not something that you have to fix, but something that you prevent and have a sort of safety net that you make your go-to anchorage points.
Okay, Antara, can you walk us through what happens in a typical counseling session on one-to-one help?
First of all, counseling is something that a person seeks out, right? So they would have felt certain needs or developed an awareness of why they want to come in and talk. And they can then use the toll-free number or through the, login details, get onto our platform and book a session. They would get a confirmation about their respective session where they'll join in with the counselor. Initially, it is all about understanding the client and sort of understanding what they've brought in for a session. Post that, it is about, setting up more sessions if there is a need to want to address and work on a certain situation. The understanding is done, then there are goals that are set, and then the counselor along with the client, they work together to bring it to a fruitful resolution. Sometimes it's just about supportive work. So I come in and I just want to share. There's nothing to resolve there. Probably I'm dealing with the grief of losing some relationship which has not worked out. And, I would just discuss my sadness and my emptiness that I feel today. So this could be just handled in a supportive session, maybe a couple of sessions with no real agenda or goal resolution. But the major part is that, do I feel more functional? Am I more empowered to take on the journey that I was on before I came in for counseling? So that is how it works out. And then there's a closure. And sometimes, what really happens is people book sessions and you get busy in between. So there's a lot of follow-up that is done so that you ensure that, the process reaches its conclusive end and it's really beneficial.
Lovely. So what kinds of issues or concerns can the employees bring? You did mention a few. Now, grief also has different types of grief, whether it is an ailing parent to even a child that could be ailing, or a sibling or a relative that you're very close to. And there's also personal goals, personal purposes that one usually don't find direction towards. So all of these can be brought to you?
Absolutely. And like I shared earlier, it is a subjective journey. So, I can bring in anything, whether it's related to the workplace, whether it's related to my personal relationship, is it a self-development space, any anything that is concerning me. Sometimes I just might want to, just have a conversation to figure out that there's nothing that is discomforting, but I just need a space to really find that connect with someone. So, coming down and just airing my thoughts and emotions, whatever they might be, this is a confidential and this is a totally acceptable space that it can happen in. What is not to be discussed, there's no sort of boundary to that. You can bring in anything that is important to you.
Oh, that is really good. Can you, Antara, share a success story or an example where EAP services like one-to-one help have made a meaningful impact on someone's life?
I take that point about the mindset from you. I remember this person, and she was going to be a mother for the second time. So it's not the first time pregnancy, it's a second time. So you know the ropes. And she was really at a lovely point in her career where, she was going to get into the next stage. And she was a great, resource as well. Midway, boss was supportive, everything was in place. And, in a couple of months, she was to go on a maternity leave. But she went to her boss and said, look, I don't think I can take this. I will have to quit. As she was thinking about it, she came in for counseling. Now, I'm just fast forwarding the whole thing and just bringing it to the crux.
Sure.
It was about the mindset. She had been a mom before. She knew the ropes. She knew what was at the end of the year when the company would grow. She would grow with it. All of that journey in the professional space, she was willing to let go. And why? Because her first child had been unwell, as children would be during their growing up stages. And her mother-in-law had really stepped and looked after the child. The child was absolutely fine now. But she got a call from her mother, and when she shared, I'm expecting another child, the mother said, you haven't been able to take care of one. Just a simple statement like that sort of derailed her motivation. And we were able to work through that counseling and, come to terms with the fact that it doesn't have to be. And she was able to, go through. So I think that was really meaningful and stayed with me. So
this is such an important example you have shared, because I think most of us women especially face this when they have to take certain important life decisions. And I think it has always been a very, very tough one to make, not knowing which side you're on and always looking for actually sides. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And you've helped someone find that light at the end of this tunnel. And I think that's beautiful work you have done. So for those listening, I guess you now have a partner in one-to-one help. And if there is anything going on in your mind, you can very well, without any hesitation, approach them. Your website, how does one go about looking for this?
The website is www.one-to-one-help.net. I'm sure with the launch, you'll get all the login details. You'll get, and we have an app as well, which works both on the iPhone and Android. So that is, again, a great benefit, because you can be sitting anywhere, waiting a few moments and go through something online. So you'll get all those details, but our website is www.one-to-one-help.net. You would have a login ID and password, which will enable you to really delve deep and go and explore the website.
Oh, that's lovely. This has been a beautiful, sensible, enlightening conversation. Antara, thank you so much for this.
Thanks a lot, Annie, for having me, and hope to see everyone come in.
With that, I've come to the close. It's going to be a weekend. You're going to have a lot of fun, and probably even look up one-to-one-help.net, by the way, to learn more about them. Up until Monday, when I come back with Badhai Ho, you take care of yourself and also have a little bit of fun.
शोखियों में डूबी अदाएं चेहरे से झलकी हुई हैं, जुल्फ की घनी घनी घटाएं शान से ढलकी हुई हैं, लहराता चल है जैसे बादल, बाहों में भरी है जैसे चांदनी, रूप की चांदनी.
Hello, Go Trippers! This is Ranveer Singh, and you are listening to Go-MMT Radio. Head, set, go.
To listen to your favorite Go-MMT Radio from anywhere, follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Visit the Go-MMT Radio page for daily updates and enjoy listening to your favorite radio channel.